$592.95 the number, and Oni's dialed that from Croftfoot. Oni? Is Oni there?
Tony.
Oh, Tony it is. Tony.
Hello.
Hi, Tony. Sorry, they gave me the wrong name. 53 people working behind the scenes here.
It's not the first time, Jim, that you haven't got the facts quite right.
No, all right then. Go on then.
Oh, Tony, that's a lovely start.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Go on then, Tony.
You throw them up, I hit them out the park.
Right, come on now.
Listen, and thanks for taking the call. On the basis that forewarned is forearmed, it seems to me that there's something of a tsunami of governance issues heading towards Scottish football, particularly the SFA. We look at, for example, in the public domain, and I'm going to talk only on information that's in the public domain, Darrell King at the Evening Times, your colleague there, confirming repeatedly that players at Rangers have had secondary contracts, one for registration and domestic tax purposes and another for offshore payment purposes into this EBT, which ran from the period 2000 through indeed until 2011. Now we've got Article 12.1 of the SFA's Articles of Association, in addition to D9.3 of the SPL's Articles of Association. And we'll see shortly, perhaps in the next 4 weeks or so, what the detail of the EBT contracts was when the First Tier Tribunal returns its results. However, Rangers, it appears from information that's in the public domain, have provided their players with two contracts. Both Article 12.1 of the SFA's Articles of Association and D9.3 of the SPL's rules require that A, all contracts are registered with the player's registration with those bodies, and secondly, that any and all payments that are made to those players are in accordance with the terms of those service agreements. Now, from 2003, Campbell Ogilvie was treasurer of the SFA. It was his department's job, and as a director of the SFA, his remit to ensure that all clubs complied with the rules. When Campbell Ogilvie left the SFA, his place was taken by Donald McIntyre. Martin Bain was the director of the SPL from 2008. Annually, Rangers, as every other club, was required to submit a club licence application. If the EBT case confirms that Rangers players had two contracts and the SFA and SPL were to confirm that one of those contracts was not registered with them, we've got a situation where directors of Rangers were submitting information to the SFA and SPL, and directors of the SPL, those very same people, were knowingly overlooking the fact that that information was incomplete. If that's the case, guys, if that's the case, how do we go forward? They've breached their duties to the game in terms of the SFA's mandate to foster the game in Scotland. We've even got the situation where the SFA are currently investigating this and other issues, when the president of the SFA is the same Campbell Ogilvie, who was the treasurer of the organisation in 2003, while at the same time his directors, his co-directors at Rangers, were submitting this information for club licensing purposes.
Well, the panel that the body that the SFA have set up, Stuart Regan, during the week there, surely will be looking at this, and I'm quite sure they'll be talking to Darrell and trying to find out where he got his information.
But Jim, if I could just come back in there.
But they would find out, wouldn't they? And then they would have to take.
They won't, only because Nimmo Smith has only got a very restricted brief, and the terms of reference of that brief have not been returned, and he's got 2 weeks only to report. And the EBT, the First Tier Tribunal on the EBT case, will not return within that period. We can only assume that Nimmo Smith is looking at current year transactions, not prior year.
There's a lot of ifs in there, Tony, right?
There are
a lot of ifs.
But as I say, forewarned is forearmed.
No, listen, absolutely. And if it is the EBTs, if they're found guilty of it, then that opens up a whole new area and possibly another tribunal. In fact, what you're saying is
I mean,
is correct. That needs to be investigated.
if there are
There's no question about
if there
that.
are two contracts for individual players,
Yeah.
and so they can have the benefit of the EBT and also be registered at SPL and SFA, that clearly can, I mean, it won't be allowed now because there are no EBT. That was outlawed, I think, 4 years ago, wasn't it? But even if that's happened, then action has to be taken. You can't just say it's 10 points and come out of administration. If that's been going on, then much more serious punishment is due.
And Tony's bang on about the terms of reference, about Lord Nimmo Smith. And maybe at that point, the terms of reference, or there's a new tribunal, or Nimmo Smith, the terms of reference are broadened. But this won't just wash away, Tony. I think we have crossed the Rubicon on this one, I think.
Right. Okay, Tony, thank you very much.